Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, The Purpose Nurse, if you have been on my channel before. But if it is your very first time on my channel, then I just want to say welcome. So today I'm going to be sharing with you all how my first day of immersion went. I am currently in immersion on a med-surg unit, and I just want to say that I'm so blessed to be at this point in my program. Nursing school is not easy, as I'm sure many of you already know, but God has definitely kept me. So first off, I want to say, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. All right, you guys, if you are ready to know how my first day of immersion went, then keep on watching. Okay, you guys, so my first day of immersion, it was rough, but I made it through. I started off, I guess, extra nervous because I had not been contacted by my preceptor. So they gave us the information, like, I want to say like around like early December, and I'm so proactive. I was like, okay, let me go ahead and contact my preceptor now because I want to know his schedule and everything. So they gave me his name and they gave me his work email. So like I said, I was proactive. I emailed him. So I figured, you know, it's December, it's the holiday. He's probably not going to get back to me, you know, for about like 2.5 weeks. So the beginning of the quarter rolls around. This is like January 6th. And I'm like, I haven't heard back from my preceptor. I don't know what his schedule is, what days he works, or anything like that. And I was just not really sure, like, if he was gonna be nice, or I don't know. I just had all these nerves, like nervousness as it pertains to like how my interaction was going to be with him. So after we had our, I want to say it was like hospital and unit orientation. Yes, it was actually the same day. So when I got back home that same day, he texted me and he apologized and he was like, oh, Jaylene, no, I'm so sorry. They give you all the work email, and I don't check my work email like that. He's like, I don't know if my coworkers do or not, but he was like, I don't. So he gave me his personal cell phone number, and then he gave me his personal email address. So yeah, so the first day I made sure that I was there early. So the shift didn't start until 7:30, and I showed up at 6, and I went ahead and found out who my patients were going to be for that day, and I wrote them down and looked them up and everything. So my preceptor had already told me that he gets there early around like 6:45, 6:50-ish, so he can look up his patients and get information and things like that. So I knew that I wanted to be there earlier than he was going to be there. So as I was getting down my information and everything, he walked into the computer room that I was in, and he was like, Jaylene, and I was like, hi, you know, and we greeted each other, and we went ahead and started our day. So we got a report from the offgoing nurse. Now, this is where I got kind of like upset with myself. So I don't know how I did this, you all, but when I added my patients that I was going to be caring for that day onto my patient list, I guess I didn't hit the button for the room they were in so it can organize them in numerical order. So I had mixed up 2 of my patients when I wrote them down on my sheets, my S-bar sheets. And so as the offgoing nurse is talking to my preceptor and I about the patient, I'm looking like, are we talking about the same patient? You said room, what room? This, okay, looking at my sheet. On top of that, I'm nervous. So my preceptor is like, it's okay, Jaylene. Like, you know, I'm a seasoned nurse and I still do that. So I'm just like, dang, Jaylene, like, pay attention. So we're off to a great start on day 1 of immersion, right? So then after that, we went through and we introduced ourselves to all of our patients. We were caring for 4 patients that day, And I was like, whoa. And one of the patients was actually total care, so he needed everything done for him, like every single thing. And he also had his mom that was staying with him and had been with him on the unit for, I think, like a while, so she was able to help as well, and, you know, just give us more information about the patient, because the patient is nonverbal. So I feel like we had a pretty good day. We were very, 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 very busy. One of our patients was admitted because he had infection at multiple sites on his body. He is an IV drug user, and so he was experiencing a lot of pain from these infections that he had. So we really had to make sure that he was having effective pain control. And the other patient was there for like malnutrition, and he also had some immunodeficiency problems. And then we had another patient who was there for acute pancreatitis, but she ended up being discharged, and everything was good with her. So overall, I'd say that the day went well, but it was just really fast paced. We were going because all of our patients combined had so many meds. I did have to prime a line. So basically, when I say prime a line, you have IV medications, and when you have an IV medication, you want to go ahead and prime the tubing. Basically go ahead and unscrew or unloosen the lock that's on the IV tubing, and just allow some of the medication or saline or whatever it is that's in the bag to come through the line to go ahead and get ready, so when you hook it up to the machine, it can be administered to the patient. So I had to do this. The first time I did it on in front of my preceptor, I did fine. But I guess as the day progressed, I was just getting really tired and fatigued. So it's like common knowledge that whenever you spike a IV bag, that's basically when you take the tubing and you connect it to the IV bag, that you make sure you lock the tubing, because obviously if you connect something to this IV bag and you don't lock it, the fluid or medicine, whatever that's in it, is going to come straight through the line. And you also want to do that because you want to avoid air bubbles. So I forgot to lock this saline, and it didn't come through the tubing and spill out, but there were air bubbles, so it took me a minute and I had to get the air bubbles out. And I didn't let it get to me because I have been doing well the entire day. But I really feel like overall it was a good day. My preceptor was so funny, y'all. He was just way cooler than I thought he was going to be initially. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't think like he would be so cool and chill, but he is awesome, and he's also in school to become an NP, so he really feels my nursing school struggle, not only because he had to go to nursing school himself, but he's now in graduate school pursuing a higher level nursing degree. Yeah, at the end of our shift, he was very, 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 very sweet and congratulated me that I made it through like my first immersion shift. And he just kept telling me, Jalen, this assignment we had today, these 4 patients, they were not easy. This was a tough assignment and you did really, 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 really well. And he also, took the time and sat down with me and talked with me a little bit, went over his schedule. And later on that night when I got home, I also received an email from him, and he basically did a whole breakdown of the entire day. When I tell y'all, it was so detailed, it was so specific, it was so thorough. I really, really, really appreciated his feedback. He complimented me on things that I did well. He told me things that I should improve on, and then he also told me things that I should continue. He expressed to me that he was very impressed about my knowledge of medications. He complimented me on my bedside manner, and he was just really, really nice. I really felt like, as far as like having a good preceptor, like the first day, like he was amazing, and I'm so grateful that he is a great preceptor, because this is something that I have been praying on with my best friend, because we pray every night, and literally I just kept praying for an amazing preceptor. Now keep in mind, like, I still have 10 more weeks with this preceptor, but this video literally is to just talk about day 1 of immersion, how it went, how I felt about it, and how my preceptor was. And overall, I really am appreciative that God put me on a med-surg unit for immersion, because I really want to have a solid grasp of my time management and prioritization. There may be some other people in my cohort, they already have it down, they can prioritize well, have great time management when it comes to being on the unit, but me personally, I feel like that's something that I can work on. So I think it's very important that when you're in situations that you didn't necessarily want to be in, that you always think about the positives in that situation, and you never want to dwell on the negatives. I'm not saying that I am just so sad that I'm on med-surg. No, like, looking at it right now, like looking at everything, when I came home, y'all, I felt so accomplished, because I felt accomplished and I felt challenged, but in a good way. Like, you don't want to do something that's just gonna be easy for you. You want to have a little bit of challenge in there. So I'm also going to share with you all some tips that my preceptor gave me. I have written all of these tips down, and I just really want to share these with you as well, in addition to like all the other information about how my first day went, because it's always good to know what you need to improve on, and just go into a situation with a standard, with this information, be cognizant of it, and you know, just try to implement it, not to be too hard on yourself, but to go in knowing, okay, I need to do A, B, C, D. So the first tip he gave me was to know about what you know about, and know about what you don't know about. As a nursing student, as a new grad, you want to keep your patients safe. So never be afraid to say, I don't know about ABCD, or say, you know, I know a little bit about ABCD, but what is there something else that I need to know, or some other pertinent information? The next thing he gave me is to go on to shift with a prioritization mindset. So when you first come on your shift, you want to look at your patients, and you want to keep in mind safety, you want to keep in mind any vitals, any labs, you want to take notes, and you also want to look at your work list, because your work list is going to tell you what it is that you need to get done for that day, because each patient is going to have a different work list. You also want to prioritize your patients. Do you have a patient that's unstable? Do you have a patient that's on antibiotics? Do you have a patient that is scheduled for procedures? You have to take all of these things into consideration, because they're going to affect how you maneuver throughout your day. So you also need to ask for help. If you need help, if you are struggling, if you are behind, ask for help. You want to know the 7 rights, the 7 patient rights, you know, right patient, right route, right drug, right dose, right time, right indication, right documentation. It's important to know these, because you need to acknowledge that your patient has rights. You also want to remember to help your CNAs. Your CNAs are there to assist you. You are the nurse, and they are following, you know, your direction. You have to delegate to them, but help your CNAs out. Like, if you're in the room and your patient says they need to go to the bathroom, instead of walking out and saying, oh, I get the CNA to help you, you're there. Take the moment, take the time, and help the patient to the bathroom. You're already in the room. Why not just help out? So he also stressed to me to not let my patients see me sweat. Patients trust nurses. Nursing, I've said it before, is the #1 most trusted profession. You don't want to come off as perfect, because no one's perfect, but you want to make your patients feel secure that you have the adequate knowledge to take care of them, and take care of them well. So Don't freak out or look confused or any of those things in front of the patient. Take time outside the room, regroup, you know, before you go into the room. But just make sure that you're remaining to have that professional image in front of your patient. He also gave me the tip of not to rush things, because when you rush things, what typically happens? You make mistakes. And in the nursing profession, although we are not perfect, there are some mistakes that you just don't want to make. You should never make. They happen, right? But you just don't want to make mistakes. So it's better to do something slowly and get it right than try to speed through it and it's wrong, the patient is at risk. You have to find that sweet spot, that pace that you are able to optimally function at as a nurse in general, where you're efficient but you're also providing safe care as well. And he also just talked to me about other different topics, about working well with the multidisciplinary team, physical therapy, occupational therapy, the doctors, those different specialties. Just knowing that you have to communicate with them, getting status updates when they're working with the patient, because all this is going to contribute to your shift documentation and report that you are going to give to that oncoming nurse when, you know, she comes to get a report about the patient. And you just really want to keep the MD addressed of any status changes in the patient. And, you know, of course, you want to do your assessments at the beginning of the shift and make sure there aren't any changes to the patient's baseline and things like that. So that's it, y'all. Day 1 of immersion complete. I made it. I have an awesome preceptor. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what else I learn and what I experience throughout this immersion. I know every day is not going to be like my first day, which wasn't too bad. I know I'm going to have some days where it's going to be really hard, but nothing in life worth having comes easy. So I'm going to say it again. Go ahead and subscribe if you are not subscribed to my channel. If you like this video, you already know, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. But until next time, y'all be blessed and be purposed.